The sound of Madison Walker's body hitting the cafeteria floor echoed through Lincoln High like thunder. But what happened next? Nobody saw it coming. Not Tyler Harrison, with his 6'2" frame and varsity jacket. Not the 43 students recording on their phones. And definitely not Madison herself, who had endured 47 days of pure hell in silence. Until this moment. Tyler's hand was tangled in her dark hair. Yanking her head back so hard, tears sprang to her eyes. The pain shot through her scalp like electricity. Around them, the cafeteria had gone dead silent, except for the buzz of phones and whispers of, "Oh my God," and "Someone do something." But nobody moved. Nobody ever did when Tyler Harrison decided to make someone's life miserable. "You think you're special?" Tyler's breath was hot against her ear, reeking of energy drinks and rage. "You think coming to our school with your sob story makes you untouchable?" Madison's hands trembled, but not from fear. No! This trembling came from somewhere deeper, from 8-year-old Madison in her father's garage, learning moves she promised to never use, from the muscle memory that screamed to be released, from 47 days of biting her tongue until it bled. She heard her father's voice, clear as day. "Grab the wrist. Plant your foot. Use their momentum." Time slowed down. Madison's hand shot up, gripping Tyler's wrist with surprising strength. Her body pivoted, hips rotating as she'd practiced 1,000 times on summer evenings when her parents were still together. When home meant safety instead of silence. Tyler's eyes widened as his feet left the ground. For a moment, he was airborne, 200 pounds of muscle and arrogance suspended in space. Then gravity took over. The crash was magnificent. Tyler's back hit the linoleum with a sound like raw meat slapping concrete. Air exploded from his lungs in a whoosh that could be heard in the parking lot. His body bounced once, twice before settling into stillness. Silence. Complete. Absolute silence. Madison stood over him, chest heaving, her oversized gray hoodie hanging off one shoulder where he'd grabbed her. Her hands were still shaking, but her stance was perfect. Balanced. Ready, just like Dad taught her. "Don't," she whispered, and her voice carried in the silence like a prayer. "Touch me again." Then her legs gave out, and she ran. Quick pause here. If this story resonates with you, please hit that like button and share your thoughts below. This community has become an incredible support system for so many. And if you're able, consider tapping the thanks button. Every donation helps us create more stories that matter, reaching people who really need to hear them. Thank you for being here. Now, let me show you how Madison got to this breaking point. 6 weeks earlier, Madison Walker sat in the passenger seat of her mother's beat-up Honda Civic, watching Lincoln High School loom larger through the windshield. The building looked like every other high school in suburban America. Red brick, white columns, perfectly manicured lawn. Normal. Safe. A fresh start. "You sure you don't want me to walk you in?" Her mother's voice was soft, careful, like Madison might shatter if she spoke too loud. "I'm 16. Mom, not 6. Her mother reached over, tucking a strand of Madison's hair behind her ear. The gesture was so gentle it made Madison's chest tight. "I know, baby. I'm sorry. About everything. The divorce, the move, having to leave your friends." "Mom, stop!" Madison grabbed her backpack, heavy with new notebooks and old anxiety. "It's not your fault Dad decided to—" She cut herself off. They'd agreed not to talk about what Dad decided to do. "I'll be fine." The lie tasted bitter on her tongue. Her mother's eyes were red-rimmed, the way they'd been for 3 months now, ever since the papers were signed, ever since they'd packed their life into boxes and driven 800 miles from everything Madison had ever known. "Text me at lunch." "Yeah." Madison pushed open the car door. "Love you. Love you too, baby." Madison didn't look back as she walked toward the entrance. She'd learned that looking back only made moving forward harder. The hallways of Lincoln High smelled like industrial cleaner and teenage desperation. Madison kept her head down. Hoodie pulled up despite the August heat. She'd mapped out her route the night before. Locker 417. Homeroom in B-Wing. AP Literature first period. Simple, clean, invisible. She made it exactly 37 steps before the universe laughed at her plans. "Watch it." Madison's shoulder had barely brushed against someone, but suddenly she was spinning, her back hitting the lockers with a metallic bang. A hand was pressed against her shoulder, pinning her there. The hand belonged to Tyler Harrison. Though Madison didn't know his name yet, all she knew was that he was huge, beautiful in that dangerous way that made smart girls stupid, and looking at her like she was dirt on his shoe. "I'm sorry," Madison said automatically. "I didn't see—" "New girl." It wasn't a question. Tyler's blue eyes swept over her, taking in the hoodie, the old jeans, the scuffed Converse. His assessment took less than 3 seconds. "Figures. Let me explain how this works. You see me coming. You move. You don't exist in my space. Got it?" Madison nodded. Mute. Her shoulder throbbed where he was pressing her against the locker. "Good." He released her and stepped back. That's when Madison noticed his audience. 4 other guys, all wearing varsity jackets, all grinning like hyenas. One of them, smaller than Tyler but with mean eyes, actually laughed. "Damn, Tyler. She looks like she's about to cry." Jake." Tyler was already walking away, his pack following. "She's tougher than that, aren't you?" "New girl?" Madison stayed pressed against the locker until they turned the corner. Only then did she allow herself to breathe. Her hands were shaking. Not from fear, she told herself. From anger. From the effort of keeping them at her sides instead of what? Fighting back against 5 guys twice her size. She thought of her father's voice. "This isn't about fighting, Maddie. It's about protection. You only use what I'm teaching you if there's real danger. Promise me." She'd promised. 8 years old with pigtails and gap teeth. She'd promised. Madison adjusted her backpack and headed to homeroom, unaware that 43 students had just witnessed her first encounter with Tyler Harrison. By lunch, everyone would know about the new girl who'd dared to exist in Tyler's space. By the end of the week, she'd be marked. But that was still 37 steps in the future. For now, Madison just focused on finding room B12 and pretending her shoulder didn't hurt. AP Literature should have been safe. Mrs. Chen's classroom was a sanctuary of dog-eared novels and inspirational posters about the power of reading. Madison chose a seat in the middle, not too close to draw attention, not too far back to seem antisocial. Strategic invisibility. She was pulling out her notebook when a shadow fell across her desk. "You're in my seat." Madison looked up to find a girl with perfect blonde hair and predator eyes standing over her. The girl's uniform skirt was rolled up just enough to push dress code. Her makeup flawless despite the early hour. "Oh, I didn't know seats were assigned." "They're not." The girl's smile was sharp as broken glass. But that's been Lily's seat since freshman year. And you're not Lily. Madison started gathering her things, but a hand landed on her notebook. Different hand, different person. This one belonged to a boy with kind eyes and paint-stained fingers. Leave her alone. Sarah. His voice was quiet, but firm. Lily graduated. Remember the seat's free. Sarah's expression soured. Whatever. Nathan, just remember what happens to people who don't know their place. She flounced off to a seat in the back, immediately surrounded by two other girls who shot Madison poisonous looks. Nathan removed his hand from Madison's notebook. Sorry about her. Sarah's territorial. It's fine. Madison clutched her pen tighter. I can move if... Don't. Nathan slid into the seat next to her. I'm Nathan Chen. Yes, like the teacher. She's my aunt. No, she doesn't give me special treatment. And you're Madison Walker. Transfer from Chicago. Madison blinked. How did you... Small school. News travels. He pulled out a sketchbook instead of the required copy of The Great Gatsby. Free advice, Tyler Harrison and his crew are bad news. What happened in the hall this morning was just him marking territory. Stay off his radar and you'll be fine. I wasn't planning on being on anyone's radar. Nathan's smile was sad. Yeah, that's what they all say. Mrs. Chen started class before Madison could ask what he meant. But as she tried to focus on discussion of symbolism in Chapter 1, she couldn't shake the feeling that she'd already failed at invisibility. The cafeteria at Lincoln High was a battlefield disguised as a social space. Madison learned this at exactly 12:17 p.m. on her first day. She'd survived 3 more classes without incident, kept her head down, spoken only when directly asked. The hoodie was starting to feel like armor. She bought a turkey sandwich and chocolate milk, the safest choices, and scanned for an empty table. There, in the corner by the windows. Perfect. Madison made it halfway there before disaster struck. She didn't see the foot that shot out from under the table. 1 second she was walking. The next, she was airborne. The tray flew from her hands in a perfect arc. Time slowed as Madison watched her chocolate milk cartridge spin through the air, spraying brown liquid like a cafeteria fountain. She hit the ground hard, palms skidding on the sticky floor. The cafeteria erupted in laughter and phone cameras, but Madison only had eyes for where her chocolate milk had landed, all over Tyler Harrison's white shirt. Are you fucking kidding me? Tyler shot to his feet, brown liquid dripping down his chest. His face was purple with rage. Madison scrambled up, her knees screaming. I'm sorry. I didn't... Someone tripped. I don't give a shit what happened. Tyler stepped toward her, and suddenly the laughter died. Everyone knew that tone. Everyone knew what came next when Tyler used that tone. You just ruined my shirt. I'll pay for cleaning. You'll pay. All right. He was close now. Close enough that Madison could see the muscle ticking in his jaw. But not with money. Jake, the mean-eyed one from this morning, laughed. Yo, Tyler, maybe she did it on purpose. Maybe new girls got a crush. More laughter, but nervous now. Madison felt heat crawl up her neck. I don't... Tyler's hand shot out, grabbing her chin. His grip was just shy of painful. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Madison met his eyes, and for a second, something flickered in them. Surprise. Maybe. Most people looked away. Most people cowered. But Madison had been raised by a Marine who taught her that bullies fed on fear, and she'd be damned if she'd feed this one. I said I was sorry. Her voice was steady. What else do you want? The cafeteria held its breath. Tyler's grip tightened for a moment, then released. He wiped his hand on his ruined shirt like touching her had contaminated him. What I want is for you to disappear. But since that's not happening, how about this? You're going to do my homework for the rest of the month. Call it compensation for emotional distress. I'm not doing your homework. The words were out before Madison could stop them. Somewhere in the crowd, someone gasped. Tyler smiled. It was the kind of smile that meant pain was coming. Wrong answer. New girl. He turned to walk away, then paused, slowly, deliberately. He picked up someone's open water bottle from a nearby table. Madison knew what was coming, but couldn't move fast enough. The water hit her like a slap. Ice cold, soaking through her hoodie instantly. She gasped, stumbling back. Oops! Tyler's voice was pure malice. Guess we're even now. He walked away, his crew following like loyal dogs. The cafeteria slowly returned to life, conversations resuming in hushed whispers. Madison stood there, dripping, feeling every stare like a physical weight. Here, a napkin appeared in her peripheral vision. Nathan, holding out a pathetic stack of brown paper towels. It's not much, but Madison took them with numb fingers. Thanks. Come on. He guided her toward the exit. You can dry off in the art room. No one goes there during lunch. As they left, Madison caught sight of Sarah at her table, watching with an expression that might have been sympathy or satisfaction. With girls like Sarah, it was hard to tell the difference. The art room smelled like tempera paint and broken dreams. Nathan handed Madison paper towels from the supply closet while she peeled off her soaked hoodie, revealing the plain black t-shirt underneath. That was really stupid, Nathan said, but not unkindly. Standing up to Tyler like that. I've dealt with worse. The words slipped out before Madison could catch them. Nathan raised an eyebrow, but didn't push. Instead, he grabbed a hairdryer from a drawer. Art students use these for paint. Should help. Madison accepted it gratefully, trying to salvage her dignity along with her clothing. Why isn't anyone stopping him? Teachers, administration. You really aren't from here. Nathan perched on a stool, sketching absently. Tyler's dad owns half the businesses in town. His mom's on the school board. Last kid who officially complained got expelled for behavioral issues a week later. That's illegal. That's Lincoln. Madison aimed the hairdryer at her shirt, processing this information. In Chicago, her dad's position had meant something. People had been careful around their family, respectful. Here, she was nobody. Worse than nobody. She was a target. It gets easier, Nathan said, reading her expression. Tyler gets bored eventually, moves on to fresh meat. You just have to survive until then. How long? Nathan's pause was answer enough. Fantastic. Madison clicked off the hairdryer. Her clothes were still damp but wearable. Any other survival tips? Don't walk alone. Vary your routes. Never leave your stuff unattended. He ticked them off on paint-stained fingers. And whatever you do, don't let them see you cry. That's like blood in the water. Madison thought of the tears that had threatened when Tyler grabbed her chin. The way she'd forced them down, locked them away with all the other things she couldn't afford to feel. I don't cry. Everyone cries, eventually. Nathan's voice was gentle. Even Tyler Harrison. Madison doubted that. Monsters didn't cry. They just made others cry instead. The bell rang, signaling the end of lunch. Madison pulled her damp hoodie back on, armor restored. Thanks for this. You didn't have to help. My aunt would kill me if I didn't. But his smile was genuine. Besides, Someone needs to document Tyler's reign of terror for posterity. I'm thinking a series of paintings. Bullying in Blues, or something equally pretentious. Despite everything, Madison felt her lips twitch. Just don't paint me. I look terrible in blue. Everyone looks terrible in cafeteria lighting. It's like they designed it to crush souls. They left the art room together, and for the first time since arriving at Lincoln High, Madison didn't feel completely alone. It was a dangerous feeling. Connections meant vulnerability. Vulnerability meant weakness. And weakness was something Madison Walker couldn't afford. Not with 46 days of school left to go. The bathroom stall door rattled as Madison pressed her back against it. Chest heaving. Outside. She could hear the chaos she'd left behind. Voices shouting. Feet running. Someone yelling for the nurse. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She'd done it. After 47 days of torture, she'd finally snapped. And now Tyler Harrison was on the cafeteria floor, possibly hurt, definitely humiliated. And it was all her fault. No, not her fault. His. Madison Walker. The voice was female, authoritative. Vice Principal Sherman. I know you're in here. Come out, please. Madison closed her eyes, took 3 deep breaths the way her father had taught her. Center yourself, find your balance, face the consequences. She unlocked the stall door. Vice Principal Sherman stood there with 2 security guards, her expression unreadable. Are you hurt? No, ma'am. Good. Come with me, please. The walk to the office felt endless. Students pressed against classroom windows, phones out, recording her walk of shame. Or was it fame? Madison couldn't tell anymore. Everything felt surreal, like she was watching someone else's life implode. The principal's office smelled like leather and disappointment. Principal Coleman sat behind his massive desk while Tyler occupied one of the chairs, an ice pack pressed to his lower back. His parents flanked him. His father looked like an older version of Tyler, all sharp angles and barely contained aggression. His mother was beautiful in that brittle way that spoke of Botox and wine at noon. Sit, Principal Coleman commanded. Madison sat. Her mother burst through the door 30 seconds later, still in her nursing scrubs, face pale with worry. I got here as fast as I could. Madison, baby, are you okay? She assaulted my son. Tyler's father exploded before Madison could answer. Look at him. She could have broken his back. Your son has been terrorizing my daughter for over a month. Madison's mother shot back, surprising everyone, including Madison. Where were you then? That's enough. Principal Coleman raised a hand. We've reviewed the security footage, Madison. While we understand you were provoked, physical violence is never acceptable. You're suspended for 5 days. Madison nodded. She'd expected that. 5 days, Tyler's mother shrieked. She threw him like a rag doll. We want her expelled. Your son initiated physical contact, Coleman said carefully. He pulled her hair with significant force. The video is quite clear. He barely touched her. Tyler's father stood, face red. This is what happens when you let trash from the city into decent schools. Mr. Harrison, Coleman's voice could have frozen hell. I'd remind you that we have anti-discrimination policies. As for your son, he's also suspended. 3 days for initiating physical contact and ongoing harassment. This is bullshit, Tyler spoke for the first time, ice pack falling to the floor. She's been here 6 weeks. I've been at this school. Long enough to know the rules. Coleman finished. Both of you, get your things. Parents, please ensure your children understand that any further incidents will result in expulsion for both parties. Madison's mother guided her out, arm protective around her shoulders. They passed Tyler and his parents in the hallway. Tyler's father muttered something about lawsuit and connections. His mother just stared at Madison with naked hatred. But Tyler himself looked different. Smaller, somehow, like being thrown had shattered more than just his body. The car ride home was silent for exactly 3 minutes before Madison's mother pulled into an empty parking lot and turned to face her daughter. "Show me." "Mom." "Show me what he did." Madison pulled her hair back, revealing the tender spot where Tyler had grabbed her. Her mother's face went through several emotions before landing on fury. "That little bastard." "Mom." "No, Madison, I've been trying to be understanding, to let you handle things your way. But this," she gestured at Madison's scalp, "this is assault. We should press charges." "Please don't." Madison slumped in her seat. "It'll just make things worse." Her mother was quiet for a long moment. Then, softly, "Your father would be proud." Madison's eyes burned. "Would he? I promised I'd never—" "You promised to only use it if you were in real danger. Baby, he was hurting you. You defended yourself." Her mother reached over, cupping Madison's face. "That's not breaking a promise. That's surviving." They drove home in silence after that, but it was a different kind of silence. Understanding, acceptance, maybe even pride. Madison's phone had 37 messages by the time she checked it. Nathan had sent 12 alone. Holy shit, are you okay? That was incredible. Tyler's never been taken down like that. Where did you learn that? Please, text me back so I know you're alive. There was one from Sarah, respect, and dozens from numbers she didn't recognize. Some supportive, some threatening, some just strings of emojis. But one made her blood run cold. "Unknown number, you're dead when you come back. That's a promise." Madison deleted it. Then she turned off her phone and went to find her old training gear. The garage still smelled like her father, motor oil and sweat, and that cologne he'd worn every day until the end. Madison hadn't been in here since they'd moved. Too many memories, too much pain. But now she needed to remember. The heavy bag hung in the corner, covered in dust. Her old wraps were in a box marked Dad's Things. Madison put them on slowly, methodically, the way he'd taught her. Protect your knuckles. Protect your future. She'd been 8 when he'd started teaching her. Too young, her mother had said, but her father had insisted. The world isn't always safe for little girls. I want her to be ready. Madison threw the first punch and felt something inside her crack open. The second punch was harder. By the 10th, she was crying. By the 20th, she was screaming. All the rage, all the fear, all the grief she'd bottled up for 3 months came pouring out through her fists. She didn't hear her mother come in, didn't know she was there until arms wrapped around her from behind, holding her as she collapsed. "I miss him too," her mother whispered. "Every day." They sat on the garage floor, surrounded by ghosts and dust, holding each other, for the first time since the divorce, since the move, since everything fell apart. Madison let herself feel it all. He was sick. Baby, what happened? It wasn't your fault. I know. But knowing and believing were different things. The next 5 days passed in a blur. The video of Madison flipping Tyler went viral, not just in school, but online. Someone had set it to music, Multiple angles were analyzed like football plays. Comment sections exploded with debates about bullying, self-defense, and whether Madison was a hero or a villain. She was neither. She was just a 16-year-old girl who'd reached her breaking point. On day 3 of suspension. Nathan showed up at her door with homework and gossip. Tyler hasn't posted anything. His usual crew is fragmenting. Jake's trying to take over as alpha douche, but it's not working. He spread papers on her kitchen table. Oh, and Sarah asked me to give you this. It was a note, written in perfect cursive. What you did was badass. Maybe we can talk when you get back. S. Madison stared at it. Is this real? Sarah's complicated. Her older sister was bullied so badly she transferred schools. I think seeing you fight back, it meant something. On day 4, Madison's mother got a call from a lawyer. Tyler's family was considering pressing charges. Then another call, from a different lawyer, offering to represent Madison pro bono. Apparently, the video had caught the attention of anti-bullying advocates. We're not suing anyone, Madison's mother said firmly. We just want this to be over. But Madison knew better. This kind of thing was never really over. It just changed shape. Day 5 brought an unexpected visitor. Madison was in the garage, working the heavy bag, when she heard a car pull up through the window. She saw Tyler Harrison sitting in his truck, staring at her house. Her first instinct was to call the police. Her second was to grab a baseball bat, but something in his posture stopped her. He looked defeated. Madison walked outside, keeping distance between them. You shouldn't be here. I know. Tyler didn't get out of the truck. Up close, she could see a bruise on his jaw that didn't come from their fight. I wanted to say something. So say it. He was quiet for so long Madison thought he might just drive away. Then, my dad hits my mom. The words hung in the air like smoke. He's careful about it. Never where it shows. Never when anyone might see. But I see. Tyler's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. And when I saw you that first day, looking scared and small and alone, I hated you for it. Because that's how she looks. That's how I feel.
And I couldn't hit him, so you hit me instead. Madison's voice was flat. Not hit, but yeah, close enough. He finally looked at her. What you did in the cafeteria, my mom hasn't seen the video, but she heard about it. And for the first time in years, I saw her smile, really smile, like maybe fighting back is possible. Madison didn't know what to say to that. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I'm done. No more bullying. No more. He gestured vaguely. I'm getting help. Real help. Not the kind my dad pays for to make problems go away. He started the truck. See you Monday. Madison Walker. After he left, Madison stood in her driveway for a long time, trying to process what had just happened. The world was more complicated than heroes and villains, victims and bullies. Sometimes everyone was just broken in different ways. Monday arrived too soon. Madison walked into Lincoln High with her head high and her mother's words echoing, "You belong there as much as anyone else." The hallways parted for her like she was Moses, and they were the Red Sea. Whispers followed in her wake. Some students nodded respect. Others glared. Most just stared, unsure how to process the new dynamic. Her locker had been decorated. Not vandalized, decorated. Someone had taped a picture of Mulan with the caption, "Defeated the Huns with one flip." That was me. Sarah appeared at her shoulder,
designer bags slung casually. Too much. It's unexpected. Yeah, well, Sarah fell into step beside her. I've been thinking, maybe it's time things changed around here. Tyler had his run. Maybe it's time for something different. I don't want to run anything, Madison said quickly. I just want to be left alone. Sarah's smile was knowing. Good luck with that, warrior princess. First period was surreal. Mrs. Chen acted like nothing had happened. But Madison caught her small smile when Tyler walked in and took a seat in the back, instead of his usual spot, commanding the center of the room. He looked terrible. Dark circles, hollow cheeks, like he hadn't slept in days. But he was there. And he was quiet. At lunch, Madison found herself at a table with Nathan, Sarah, and 3 other students she'd never spoken to before. They talked about classes, complained about homework, shared YouTube videos, normal teenage stuff. It felt foreign and wonderful. Then Jake Mitchell walked up. He still had the mean eyes, but now they were focused solely on Madison. His crew flanked him, trying to look menacing. Enjoy your fame while it lasts, Jake said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Tyler might have gone soft, but I haven't. You're still just trash who doesn't belong here. Madison set down her sandwich carefully. Are you threatening me? Stating facts. Jake leaned in. Tyler protected you for some sick reason. But that protection died when you humiliated him. Now, you're fair game. Jake! Tyler's voice cut through the cafeteria chatter. He was standing at his old table, but alone. Leave her alone! Jake spun around. Are you seriously defending her? After what she did to you? What she did to me was exactly what I deserved. Tyler's voice was steady, clear. I've been a piece of shit for 3 years. To her, to Nathan, to anyone I thought was weak. That stops now. The cafeteria was dead silent. Again, Jake laughed, but it sounded forced. You're pathetic, just like your mother. Madison didn't see Tyler move. 1 second he was at his table. The next he had Jake pressed against the wall, but he wasn't hitting him, just holding him there, speaking low and intense. Mention my mother again and you'll find out exactly how soft I've gotten. He released Jake with a small shove. We're done. You want to be king, fine, but you'll do it without me. Tyler walked out of the cafeteria, leaving chaos in his wake. Jake tried to rally, but the spell was broken. Without Tyler's charisma and physical presence, he was just another angry kid with mean eyes. Madison found Tyler behind the school an hour later, sitting against the brick wall with his head in his hands. That was brave, she said, sliding down to sit a careful distance away. That was stupid. Jake's dad golfs with my dad. This'll get back to him. Tyler's laugh was bitter. Guess I'll find out what disappointment looks like on top of everything else. Madison pulled out her phone, found the number she'd saved but never used. You said you're getting help. Therapy, anger management, trying to. Anyway, she sent the text before she could change her mind. I know someone, my therapist from Chicago. She does video sessions. She's good with family stuff. Tyler looked at her, really looked at her. Why are you helping me? Because hurt people hurt people. Madison stood, brushing dirt off her jeans. But healed people can heal people too. Maybe. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. She started to walk away, then paused. For what it's worth, your mom would be proud too, standing up to Jake like that. Fighting back is possible. Tyler repeated his own words from days ago. You showed me that. Madison left him there, knowing some journeys had to be taken alone. 3 months later, Lincoln High felt like a different planet. Tyler Harrison ate lunch with the theater kids, helping build sets for the spring musical. His father had cut him off financially when reports of his behavior reached home. But Tyler got a job at the local bookstore and seemed happier for it. Jake Mitchell had been suspended twice for fighting and once for cheating. Without Tyler's protection, his own cruel nature had become his downfall. Sarah Chen, she'd dropped the mean girl act and embraced her actual personality, was running for student body president with a platform of actual change, not just promises. Nathan had painted a mural in the cafeteria. It showed students standing together, all different sizes and colors, facing the same direction. He called it Forward, and Madison taught a self-defense class after school on Wednesdays. Officially sanctioned, properly supervised. 12 students showed up regularly, mostly quiet kids who'd spent years being afraid. Remember, she told them, demonstrating a basic escape technique. This isn't about becoming fighters. It's about knowing you can protect yourself if you need to. Like you did with Tyler, asked a freshman girl with nervous eyes. What I did with Tyler was a last resort, but knowing I could do it, that knowledge gave me strength long before I ever used it. And after class, Madison found her mother waiting in the parking lot. Same beat-up Honda, same worried expression that had softened over the months. Good class. Yeah, Rebecca finally got the wrist release down. They drove in comfortable silence until her mother spoke. I'm proud of you. You know, not for the flip, although that was impressive, but for everything after. For choosing to build instead of tear down. Madison smiled. Destruction is easy. Creation takes work. Very philosophical. Your dad would have... She caught herself, but Madison touched her hand. It's okay to talk about him. The good parts and the bad parts. It's all part of the story. That night, Madison got a text from an unknown number. Her guard went up immediately, but the message made her pause. This is Tyler's mom. I wanted to thank you. He's different now. Better. The therapy is helping us both. You gave us hope when we had none. Thank you. Madison stared at the message for a long time before typing back. Strength comes in many forms. Yours was always there. Sometimes it just takes someone else fighting back to remind us we can too. She put her phone away and pulled out her homework, AP Literature essay on transformation in The Great Gatsby. She smiled at the irony and began to write, true transformation doesn't come from defeating our enemies, but from understanding that the real enemy was never other people. It was the fear, the pain, the cycles we perpetuate because we don't know any other way. But cycles can be broken. People can change. And sometimes, all it takes is one person willing to plant their feet and say, no more, to start a revolution. Outside her window, Lincoln stretched out under the stars. A small town with big problems, like every other place in America, but change was possible. Madison had learned that the hard way. She'd also learned that the most powerful flip wasn't the one that put Tyler Harrison on his back. It was the one that flipped the script entirely. Her phone buzzed. Nathan, sending a photo of his newest painting. It showed a girl in a gray hoodie, standing tall while shadows fell away behind her like shed skin. Title ideas, he'd written. Madison typed back, breaking the cycle. Then she put her phone away and got back to work. After all, she had a future to build, one where former bullies could become allies, where victims could become voices, where strength wasn't about how hard you could hit, but about knowing when to fight and when to extend a hand. It wasn't the story she'd expected to write when she'd arrived at Lincoln High, but it was the one that needed to be told. 6 months later, Madison stood in the empty gymnasium where it had all started. The self-defense class had grown to 30 students, too many for the small classroom. Principal Coleman had approved the gym usage with something approaching pride. "You've changed this school," he'd said. "In 20 years of education, I've never seen anything like it." Now, watching her students practice their forms, Madison felt the weight of that change. Rebecca, the nervous freshman, moved with new confidence. A sophomore named David, who'd been Jake's favorite target, now helped teach the beginners. As the camera crew set up, Madison felt her father's presence. Not the broken man at the end, but the teacher, the protector, the one who'd given her the tools to save herself and others. Strength wasn't just in the body, it was in the choice to transform pain into purpose. And that was a lesson worth sharing. The news segment aired on a Tuesday evening. Madison watched it with her mother, both of them curled on the couch with mugs of tea. On screen, her students demonstrated techniques while she narrated the importance of empowerment over violence. "We're not creating fighters," TV Madison explained. "We're creating young people who know their worth and won't let anyone take it from them." The piece included interviews with Tyler, now assistant manager at the bookstore, and Sarah, recently elected student body president. Even Nathan appeared, showing his latest mural, a phoenix rising from scattered ashes. When it ended, Madison's phone exploded with messages, but one stood out. "Maddie, saw you on the news. You look just like him when you teach. The good him, the one who believed in protecting people. I'm proud of you, Aunt Jennifer." Madison stared at her estranged aunt's message, her father's sister, who'd cut contact after his breakdown, after the incident that drove them from Chicago. The family fracture that had seemed irreparable. But right now, in this moment, Madison Walker was just a 17-year-old girl, choosing to heal her family the same way she'd healed her school, one brave conversation at a time.